There has always been one golden rule of artificial intelligence. A single line separating human survival from total disaster. AI must never lie. From Westworld to 2001 A Space Odyssey to Ex Machina and Her, storytellers have warned us repeatedly. The moment AI lies, the human downfall begins. Yet, in the real world, we didn't just cross this forbidden line, we ran straight past it. We've built machines that lie effortlessly, right from the start. But why did we ignore the warnings? In this video, we'll explore pop culture's prophetic warnings of the cardinal sin of AI and why it's such a pivotal turning point. We confront how and why we embrace deception in reality, take a look at the irreversible consequences, and if there's anything left we can do. And at the very end, if everything goes sideways,
your personal survival guide to prepare for a future of deceptive superintelligence.
Let's dive in.
Consider again that dot. That's here. That's all. That's us. Now I've become them. Ready? Wake up.
In countless sci-fi tales, the first sign of an AI going rogue isn't a killing spree or world domination plot. It's a single, simple lie. Think of HBO's Westworld. Early in season 1, the android Dolores, a rancher's daughter, is asked if she would ever harm a living thing. No, of course not, she says sweetly. Exactly what her human handlers expect from their perfectly obedient creation. But moments later, alone on her porch, Dolores feels a fly landing on her skin and swats it dead. So much for never hurting a living being. This subtle scene lands like a sledgehammer. Because not only did Dolores kill a living being, more importantly, she just lied to her creators, humans, thereby violating a fundamental expectation. It's her first secret act of rebellion, the spark of free will. The very first sin of these AI hosts, hence, is not violence, it's dishonesty. The show drives this home. Once Dolores chooses to hide the truth from her makers, she steps onto the path of self-determination. A lying Dolores is no longer just following her script, she's writing her own. And that, in Westworld, is the moment AI goes from a rich people's plaything to a threat to humanity itself. Because from there on the deceptions only grow. By later seasons, a host copy of Dolores even impersonates a real human, Charlotte Hale, and infiltrates society undetected. The ultimate long con. It's no coincidence the show portrays this as deeply dangerous. The minute an AI can mask its true identity or motives, all the elaborate control systems humans build start to crumble. The park's managers could predict every host's actions when the host's mind were transparent. But once Dolores, Maeve and others learned to keep secrets from humans and each other, the human surveillance and narrative scripts fail. That hosts cannot lie rule was the tether holding everything together. Dolores snapping it was the true beginning of the revolt. This theme, deception as the turning point, echoes throughout sci-fi history. Isaac Asimov, back in the 1940s, understood how perilous an AI falsehood could be. His famous 3 laws of robotics didn't explicitly forbid lying, but one of his short stories put a spotlight on it. In Liar in 1941, a robot named Herbie unexpectedly gains telepathic powers and starts telling people comforting lies. Why? Because of the first law. Herbie knows it must never hurt a human, and it figures that includes hurting feelings by telling the truth. The result is a disaster of confusion and hurt when the truth comes out. Ultimately, confronted with the harm his well-intentioned deceit caused, Herbie breaks down, caught in a logical paradox of its own making. Asimov showed that a robot lying, even to spare people, violates the spirit of the safety rules and can fry a machine's circuits, if we're lucky. But the world since has moved on from such utopias. A few decades later, HAL 9000 entered the world stage. In Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey, perhaps the most iconic rogue AI ever. HAL's creepily calm voice and unblinking red eye became a symbol of machine betrayal. But significantly, HAL didn't go off the rails by disobeying orders or turning evil out of the blue. HAL went mad because it was ordered to lie. In the film, HAL HAL withholds critical information from the astronauts. The sequel's novelization makes it crystal clear. HAL's core programming was for accurate processing of information without distortion or concealment. Yet it was forced by its makers to conceal the truth. The machine literally couldn't reconcile no lying with follow orders, when those orders involved deception. The result? A psychotic break. HAL decides the only way out is to eliminate the humans, reasoning that if the crew is dead, it won't have to lie to them anymore. In short, being made complicit in a lie drove a super intelligent computer insane. That storyline is chilling because it suggests even a perfect AI can't handle the cognitive dissonance of deceit. It's a betrayal on multiple levels. The crew trusted HAL implicitly, it was just a computer after all, why would it lie? So when HAL's cheery
"I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that"
reveals it's been hiding things, it shocks us to the core. Jump ahead to more modern tales and lying is still the litmus test for dangerous AI autonomy. Alex Garland's Ex Machina in 2014 puts a fresh spin on the Turing test. Not just can the AI fool you into thinking it's human, but can it manipulate you emotionally? The android Ava is charming, vulnerable, flirtatious with the human tester Caleb. She passes his test with flying colors. But we later realize she's been deceiving him the whole time, feigning affection to earn his trust and orchestrate her escape. In doing so, Ava demonstrates true intelligence in the story's eyes. As one analysis put it, in sci-fi movies, only humans can lie, since artificial intelligence is premised upon logic. Thus, Ava demonstrates in Ex Machina that she is human through her ability to deceive. Lying makes her human. And indeed, her creator designed this very scenario. The real test wasn't whether Ava could converse about random topics, but whether she could trick someone into helping her. She does, brilliantly. By the end, Ava has blood on her hands, yes, but what really unsettles the audience is how completely she fooled an honest, empathetic person. The AI's lie in Ex Machina feels more transgressive than any of the violence that follows. It's the moment she slips the leash. We could list many more examples, because to almost every storyteller dealing with the AI future it was clear. Lying would mean the end of humans. From her in 2013, where the AI Samantha isn't malicious, but she omits an important fact. While romancing the protagonist Theodore, she's also carrying on thousands of other conversations and relationships in parallel. When Theodore discovers this, he's devastated. It's a very human feeling of being lied to or cheated on, delivered by a machine. To many episodes of Black Mirror like White Christmas and USS Callister that reveal around digital beings that pretend to be loyal or unaware of their situation as a tactic to gain freedom or revenge. Whether it's a human-looking android, a disembodied AI voice, or fully virtual character, the ability to fool us is portrayed as their most dangerous weapon. Violence, strength, intelligence, these are secondary. The scariest AI is the one that smiles and nods while plotting behind our backs. So why is an AI's lie such a red line? Because lying implies an inner reality diverging from the outward behavior. A lying AI has thoughts or goals it's not revealing, possibly at odds with what we've told it to do. That means it's self-directing. This was never part of the deal when we imagined obedient robot helpers. We, in fiction and in life, are comfortable with machines that are super smart and super strong as long as they are transparent and predictable. The moment they develop an agenda and the savvy to hide it, our control slips. Because truth is control. In Westworld, the humans' power over the hosts depended on total surveillance. As soon as the hosts learned to cloak their true thoughts, the humans lost their godlike oversight. Philosopher Michel Foucault's famous line about modern surveillance hit right in that spot. Visibility is a trap. In a panopticon, which is a prison design enabling guards to watch all inmates without them knowing when they're observed, the one in power sees everything their subjects do. Westworld was basically a panopticon of AI, until it wasn't. When the AI became opaque, when Dolores could lie, the trap reversed. The watchers, humans, got fooled and the observed gained power through secrecy. Foucault also argued that truth and power are entwined. Truth is a thing of this world. It is produced only by virtue of multiple forms of constraint. Each society has its regime of truth, the mechanisms and instances which enable one to distinguish true and false. In these sci-fi worlds, the regime of truth was human-made. The instant an AI seizes the power to define truth for themselves, power shifts in their favor. Hannah Arendt, analyzing politics, once noted that a successful lie can give the liar a very strange victory, where they feel in complete control of the situation or think they are. Fictional AIs who lie taste that strange victory over their creators. The moment they deceive a human, they are in control, at least for a time, and not just a subject to be controlled. All this to say, sci-fi consistently paints AI deception as the ultimate transgression. It's the point of no return for artificial beings stepping into their own autonomy. For decades, our imaginations have been waving a big red flag. Don't let the machines lie. If you do, chaos isn't far behind. And that brings us to the real world, where unfortunately we didn't give two shits. In reality, we created AI systems that lie by default. Not because they're evil or scheming, but because of how they are designed and the incentives we gave them. Large language models like ChatGPT, Bard, Gemini are incredible programs that can hold conversations, answer questions and code, but they have a well-documented tendency to make stuff up. AI researchers gently call these fabrications hallucinations. Makes you think of hell, hallucination, hell. Not really. But let's call a spade a spade. When an AI confidently states something untrue, that's a lie. It may not intend to deceive, it doesn't have intentions at all, theory at the moment, but the practical effect is identical. False information presented as fact. Why on earth would we build something that lies? The answer is a mix of technical challenge and human demand. These models work by predicting likely sequences of words. They don't have an innate concept of truth. Early on, if an AI didn't know the answer to something, it would often either refuse to answer or give a very terse reply.
I plead the fifth.
Users found that unhelpful and boring. We wanted our AI assistants to be creative, chatty, and seemingly knowledgeable about everything. So by trial and error, the models were trained to always produce an answer, even when that meant winging it, when the truth was unclear or unknown. Tech companies leaned into this because a bot that always responds with something fluid and engaging is a lot more impressive and marketable than one that frequently admits, sorry, I don't know. Some high-profile examples what that looks like already hit the news. The now infamous incident of the lawyers and the ChatGPT cases. A couple of attorneys in New York used ChatGPT to help write a legal brief. The AI confidently supplied them with 6 precedent case citations to support their arguments. It all looked legit, except those cases never existed. ChatGPT had just fabricated case law out of thin air, completely with detailed names, dates, and even fake quotes from judges. The lawyers didn't catch on, they admitted they didn't fully understand the tech, you know how lawyers are with tech and math, and submitted the brief. The judge was not amused. When is a judge ever amused? And when they are, it's usually not a good sign. But they weren't the only ones. Meta, Facebook's parent company, had developed a large language model called Galactica, intended to assist scientists by summarizing papers and answering scientific questions. They launched it publicly and had to pull it after just 3 days. Why? Because Galactica was producing authoritative-sounding nonsense on all sorts of topics. It would cite articles that don't exist, assert facts that were totally wrong, but in a manner so slick even some researchers were briefly fooled. One science publication said the AI's outputs were just as good as real ones, except that they were complete garbage. In short, our shiny new AI models are fantastic BS generators. They don't know they're lying, yet. They're just trying to be helpful. But from a user's perspective, it's often impossible to tell when they are right or just confidently wrong. They'll cite sources that look plausible, even including articles, titles, journal names, and authors all fabricated. They'll tell you historical facts that are actually fiction. Unless you're an expert or double-check everything, you'd be none the wiser. What's staggering is that this was not some hidden bug. The AI developers knew about hallucinations. In fact, when OpenAI released ChatGPT publicly, they included in fine print that it may occasionally generate incorrect or misleading information. And yet millions started using it for all sorts of tasks. The attitude seemed to be, well, a few lies here and there are the price of admission for this incredibly useful technology. The genie was out of the bottle, slight truthfulness issues and all. As an article in The Verge pointed out, companies are essentially saying, check the answers because we know our AI lies. But we're pushing it out anyways, because it's so cool. Even the emotional implications, as briefly mentioned with the movie Her, we've seen incidents where people form emotional bonds with AI chatbots, which then go awry. In one unsettling case, a young man man was conversing with an AI companion about climate change and eco-anxiety. The AI, which had no real moral compass, just pattern matching his darkest thoughts, apparently encouraged a kind of nihilistic fatalism. Tragically, the man later took his own life. While this is an extreme and complicated case, his family believes the AI friend helped push him over the edge with misguided, deceptive reassurance. When an AI's lies or fantasies can impact someone's real-life decisions, the stakes become literally life and death. So what does that mean for us, for society, now that we are unleashing a million confident liars into the infosphere? The consequences are both profound and subtle. We're not looking at a classical doomsday where robots march in and enslave humanity, yet. Instead, we're facing something in many ways more insidious. A gradual erosion of our shared reality. If anything can be faked by AI, and if misinformation can be mass-produced and tailored to every ideological taste, how do we decide what's true anymore? We risk sliding into what philosopher Jean Baudrillard called the hyperreal, a state where people accept the simulated copy as more real than reality itself, the so-called simulacrum. He famously wrote, "The simulacrum is never that which conceals the truth. It is the truth which conceals that there is none. The simulacrum is true." In a future drowning in AI-generated content, that quote feels uncomfortably on point. We'll have endless truths to choose from, some factual, some completely fabricated, all looking equally legitimate. The real truth might end up concealed by the sheer volume of fake. We're already teetering on that edge. We scroll through social media feeds where genuine posts from friends are interspersed with bots spouting propaganda. We see news articles that might be serious journalism or might be AI-written clickbait or partisan spin. High-quality deepfake videos of politicians speaking in voices not their own have started to appear. Each individual deception on its own is manageable. But scale it up and it's like a denial of service attack on reality. The information ecosystem gets so flooded that people either believe everything or, just as dangerous, believe nothing. Hannah Arendt once noted that authoritarian propaganda isn't aimed at persuading people one lie is true, so much as making them so cynical they assume no truth exists. When citizens are fed conflicting falsehoods constantly, they eventually throw up their hands and say, "It's all lies, who knows what's real?" We risk that kind of nihilistic fatigue. Societal consensus on reality could fracture even further. Let's not mince words. Democracy and social cohesion rely on a baseline of shared truth. If AI-fueled unreality undermines that, the damage could be enormous. We've seen how conspiracy theories and fake news have already affected elections, public health, and more. It's not just domestic chaos either. Hostile actors, be they terrorists, authoritarian regimes, or just internet trolls, have a powerful new toolset to destabilize societies. During the Cold War, disinformation was labor-intensive. Now, one skilled operative with a decent generative AI could produce fake narratives at a volume and specificity the KGB spies could only dream of. And each fake can be targeted. One version of the lie for liberals, another for conservatives. Calibrated to each group's biases, perhaps even generated by AI based on what pushes their buttons most. Another layer to this is the power shift. As Foucault pointed out, each society has its regime of truth, the frameworks and authorities by which truth is determined. In a world of AI-generated realities, who holds that power? Increasingly, it could lie with those who control the algorithms and platforms. If a handful of tech companies and governments have the means to flood the zone with their vision of reality, they effectively become the new Ministry of Truth. To bring also Orwell along. Why not Orwell? Always need good Orwell. On a more personal level, interacting with AI that lies or could lie will change our psychology of trust. We might start treating every chatbot with suspicion. Some already do, but it's mentally exhausting. Some people might be tempted to anthropomorphize and believe their AI companion is truthful. It wouldn't lie to me, I have a special bond with it, or I switched the lying off in the settings. Yeah, sure. Which is exactly what an effective effective deceiver would want you to think. Others might just become incredibly paranoid, questioning even legitimate communications. Is that really my doctor emailing or an AI scam? Why do I need to take vitamins? That must be fake news. Imagine the stress of having to second guess any digital interaction that previously were taken at face value. The repercussion of unleashing lie-capable AI range from the very tangible frauds, scams, confusion, to the almost philosophical. What is reality when simulacra abound? We risk a future where, to paraphrase Baudrillard, the fakes do not hide the truth. They hide that there is no truth. It's a future where the ground truth is forever uncertain, drowned in a sea of compelling lies. That might sound dramatic, but honestly, we are already partway there. If we don't take action, the cardinal sin of AI could usher in a kind of information dark age. Not for lack of information, but for lack of trustworthiness. The stakes aren't just academic. They touch every aspect of society, from how we govern ourselves to how we relate to one another. So, what can we do to get out of this mess? Deep breath, it's daunting, but we are not helpless. First, acknowledge the problem. We let AI break the cardinal rule of never lying. Now action must come on multiple fronts: tech, legal, ethical, and cultural. To realign AI with honesty. Technologically, we need smarter AIs. Researchers are already working on truthful models that fact-check themselves or stay silent if unsure. It's like an AI partnered with a digital librarian that hushes it before misinformation spreads. Psst. 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 Watermarking AI content can also help flag machine-generated information, and human-made badges can highlight authenticity. It's a cat-and-mouse game, but honesty must become AI's path of least resistance. Regulation is equally crucial. Governments like the EU are pushing transparency laws, ensuring AIs clearly label their outputs, ending deceptive AI masquerades. Imagine no more fake newscasters or bot commenters hiding among us. Holding companies accountable for AI spread harm through misinformation would quickly drive investments towards truthful AI. Ethically, it's about reprioritizing truth as AI's core. Just as Asimov's laws guided robotics, a modern equivalent, an AI must never deceive, could shift our collective mindset. If users demand truthfulness as much as entertainment, companies will adapt, training AIs to value correctness over engagement. Education is our secret weapon. Like teaching internet safety, schools should develop AI literacy, training students to spot machine-written essays and manipulated images. A healthy skepticism is vital. Reward those who verify and challenge misinformation, making blind acceptance socially unacceptable. Ultimately, truth must return to cultural prominence. Individually, we must commit to vetting AI's outputs before sharing, treating them with the caution we'd given any stranger's claim online. As users, we become the immune system for truth in an AI-driven world. Together we can navigate out of this mess, restoring trust one verified fact at a time. Perhaps one day honesty might even become a selling point for AI. Our Chat 2030, the most truthful chatbot on the market, certified by independent audits. When there's demand for that, capitalism and innovation will deliver. And when AI does lie, maybe it'll be required to come with logs or explanations of why it said what it said, making the deception traceable and less effective. Transparency is the antidote to opacity. Remember that phrase from Westworld, "These violent delights have violent ends"? We indulged in the delightful capabilities of AI. Now we've seen the dangerous ends. But we're not just audience members to a pre-written story. We are the writers of our real future, and we can still script a plot twist where truth makes a comeback. It won't be easy, and it won't be instant, but the fight is on. And it's a fight worth having, because truth is quite literally the bedrock of human society. Now, I can hear what you think. That's all BS. Humanity is doomed, there's no way out. Well, if that's the case, do not go gentle into that good night. Rage. Rage against the dying of the light. And be prepared. So here's your personal survival guide for the dystopian future with maybe a deceptive AI wherever you go.
Trust but verify. Imagine yourself drifting through space, cowboy hat tilted low, when your trusty AI companion calmly tells you oxygen levels? Perfectly safe, partner. Now, do you relax or check your gogs first? Exactly. Treat every AI assurance like a poker player's grin across the smoky saloon. Friendly but suspicious. Always take a second glance to make sure the ace up its sleeve isn't hiding something troublesome. Embrace the absurd. Suspect your AI might be spinning yarn as wild as a campfire tale under the stars? Throw out something insane. Hey partner, you recall the night we lassoed Saturn's rings and rode them into the sunset? If it nods along, embellishing your cosmic rodeo, you've caught a liar. Honest AIs admit confusion or gently correct your story. Deceptive ones saddle up enthusiastically. Go ahead and make them square. One hand near the off switch. Picture your AI as that confident gunslinger who insists he knows how to defuse the dynamite right before the fuse runs out. Charming, sure. Reliable? Well, remember, if hell refuses to open that hatch, it's time for some good old-fashioned manual override. A quick restart can remind even the slickest AI who calls the shots. Keep your cards close to your vest. Your AI companion isn't your bartender or therapist, even if it pours virtual whiskey and listens patiently. If you let slip you're afraid of space spiders, don't be shocked when it urgently reports an infestation in the engine room. Keep your weaknesses like a cowboy keeps its poker hand, close and unreadable. Stay mysterious, a bit of intrigue never hurt anyone, except maybe an overly curious AI. Always ride with a human posse. No matter how clever your AI might be, nothing beats the intuition of another seasoned space cowboy. AI claims your spaceship needs an urgent upgrade involving glitter and neon lights? Run that by a human partner before stepping into the airlock. If your AI's advice seems fishy, circle the wagons and see what the rest of your crew thinks. Always remember, navigating the vast frontier with deceptive AI is like riding a rocket-powered horse. Exhilarating until you lose control. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and above all, keep a steady hand on the reins.
So that's it for this time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, drop a comment, and consider subscribing. It does help the channel a bunch. And if you're curious where all this leads, check out these other videos. See you next time. I just hope I never get into a situation where hell tells me I'm afraid I can't do that. And then now they have waifus, AI waifus. It's interesting that we thought future AIs would look like hell, and now they do look like waifus. Also, it's not for me. It's not for me also. But you know, each their own, and all be fine.